Silver stackers might be feeling like astronauts today because we are on a rocket ship and it's potentially going into unexplored territory on the chart. So another day of all-time highs for silver. So if you're holding silver, guys, like the video. If you want to see the prices of silver go higher, like it again, subscribe to the channel because we are covering the most important breaking, technical price news for silver, what's happening in the silver market, precious metals as well. We'll also comment about the US national debt, and I'll give you guys my exact predictions about what's happening with the Middle East right now, because there is some big intel that could potentially trigger what's going to happen next with the silver prices and the precious metals prices. So we'll talk about that later on in the video, but let's get straight into it. So you can see right here, $88 for silver, absolutely insanely powerful price chart right here. It basically, where's the retracement? There is no retracement really when you zoom out, and this is why I think it's very important to have silver on the radar. If you're not owning silver right now, wow, you've missed out on a lot of gains. But I think silver still has plenty of potential to go up in price. And I'm not even think the short term, we're talking really long term here. So even though we've been analyzing the price chart, day to day, you have to really consider the long-term impacts of silver that we'll talk about later on in the video, but you have to look right here. Just a monstrous price graph, just an absolute beast. And November 2025, which wasn't very long ago, look at that. It was sitting at $46. You go back longer in time, guys, $36 right here, August 2025. And now it's sitting at $88, and just within, how high did we actually get? We got all the way up to, last few hours, this is breaking live data, $89. Wow, $89. And this is not even potentially the real price of silver. So remember, if you really want to buy the physical stuff from a retailer, from a bullion bank, you're most likely going to be paying the real price, which could be upwards now of $100. It could really be even more than that. We know in Shanghai, China, they're paying a lot more than that. And there could be some manipulation and suppression on this price right here. And it is giving us some very, very interesting dynamics playing out. But just this is a signal that there is real demand. People are stacking this hard. And there is almost like a race to acquire as much silver as possible. And it's not only silver today. If you have a look at the precious metals, guys, a lot of them are looking good. Platinum, oh baby, this is starting to rise up as well. So $2,350. Gold inching up a bit higher as well. Copper looking strong, and a lot of things are looking, very, very solid, to say the absolute least right now. And before we talk about the long term, where the silver price can go, $150, $200 plus in the future, let's talk about the breaking intel alpha that is happening. So at the moment, if you've been living under a rock, there has been a lot of speculation about what's happening with Iran. So with Iran, you have to understand right now, they have had not any internet for, I think it's like 3 or 4 days, 120 hours right here. So a lot of the intel coming out of Iran, just, trust it with a grain of salt, because not many people know exactly what's going on, because there's no internet. You can't get the messages out. There's big speculation of big numbers out here. There's lots of BS floating around over on Twitter as well, but we're here to bring you the real news. And remember the big picture of this. So why are we talking about Iran? Why does this even matter to do with the silver price? And it's because, look, when there's times of really big geopolitical uncertainty, like we're going through in the world right now with Iran, with Venezuela, and potentially after Iran, it might be Russia, and then it might be China, Taiwan. People want to put their money into really, sure, safe assets. And silver is one of them, because you need silver. It's not a meme metal. This is something you need for the economy. You need it for industry. You need it also for for military use. So there's a really strong fundamental. It's not just limited to one country. This is a global demand for silver. There's a supply shortage of this if you look into the deficit numbers as well. So it's the perfect storm at the moment brewing around for silver. And this is why I think we are seeing these explosive prices go up and up and up. And I do think, look, honestly, as the world gets more volatile, and we're going to see more of this happen, and it's not only in Iran as well, I want to stress that. So people have focused in on Iran. Guys, there's Western countries at the moment, like Australia, pushing really draconian 1984, like hate speech laws, cracking down on civil rights and all that. So across the board, Western countries, Middle Eastern countries, there is just a lot of, what's the word? Low trust in governments, right? So people are not really trusting governments the way they used to back in time. It's just kind of falling apart slowly, or not even slowly, pretty quickly. And, there is just lots of volatility happening. So prices of silver going up, right? You have gold, platinum going up. With Iran, the latest data is there's plenty of speculation Trump might do something soon. We're having a little bit of pullback on Intel. But before we talk about that pullback on Intel, check out the latest numbers right here. So you can see 67% chance now of a US-Israel strike on Iran by January 31st. So it's not 100%. This is not guaranteed that it's going to happen, but that is what the money is telling us with Iran right now. And this is what the predictions markets are doing. So they are giving us some pretty nice insight into what can happen next in the world and where people are actually putting their money. And this can all tie into, silver and gold and all that stuff as well. So that is something interesting to have on the radar. So the odds are still creeping up, but we are getting a little bit of rhetoric from JD Vance saying he might pull back, right? So he's saying right here, but I'm not sure how much of this is for show or whether it's real. He says right here, he's still worried that the US will be pulled deeper into a Middle East entanglement if it intervenes in anti-regime protests in Iran. So my geopolitical predictions for this, guys, is I don't think there's a chance US troops like army or Marines will get sent to Iran. I think the chance of that are pretty close to 0% because again, it's way too risky. There'll be high levels of casualties. It'll be way worse than Iraq 2.0, way worse than Afghanistan. So they're not going to do that. But the only thing they might do that I do consider is they might at some stage launch these types of airstrikes, right? So they might do airstrikes against the government in Iran, but really how effective will that be, right? How effective will the airstrikes be, because the government will still be in control. There's no actual military in here to overthrow the government. The only chance the US and the US's allies have of overthrowing Iran is if the actual protests in Iran grow big enough where the people inside Iran actually overthrow the government. I think that's the only path forward. And whether that's actually going to happen or not, I'm not sure. Because over on X, look, there's a lot of BS, there's a lot of fake news, there's a lot of propaganda. And I'm here to bring you the real news right here. And you can see right here, this is actually a fake post right here because people are pointing out there are no strategic bombers forward deployed to the Middle East or any other locale in the world. There's been no surge of tankers or cargo aircraft. And there is a lot of stuff over on X that isn't verified that people just do post. So that's important to consider. And again, this is all going to tie back into silver because, the more volatile this gets, the more interesting it's going to become. And if there actually is this type of stuff that does blow apart coming up in the future, that's where silver, I think, will really start to break away and run hard. But I do think, look, these factors, if you want to see some long-term price predictions for silver, just think about, look, these bigger kind of things in society that are happening, right? So distrust of centralized government. And that's not only, as I said, in the Middle East, like countries like Iran, that's happening in countries like Australia. That's happening in countries, even with the USA, people don't really trust the government as much. These countries are also getting a lot more polarized. So left versus right, this is also starting to break down, becoming, what's the word, where you can't really salvage the relationship. That's how bad some of these countries are actually going. And then you also have a lot of money printing. So remember, in the US, there is just so much money printing. There is no plan to fix this, right? The interest on the national debt is now in excess of the military budget right here. So this is another factor that is playing a good supporting role for precious metals rises. And you have to also remember, look, this is an industrial use case asset. So you need silver. So it's not just based around community, which obviously can still be very powerful, community buying up an asset. But also there is an actual utility need for silver. So I do think this is where it can set the stage long term. You could be seeing like $150 silver. You could potentially see $200 silver. You could potentially see $250 silver. And look, as the world gets more chaotic and more crazy, the prices can also go more crazy as well, right? So that is just something to factor in if you're long term on silver. So we're not talking about trading this in the short term, just trying to time these hourly candles and that type of stuff. But if you are making money off that, all the more power to you. I'm just talking about the really long-term factors that will drive silver. And that's what I think is going to happen. So we're going to have to figure out what happens with Iran next. whether even it will be successful in overthrowing the government, what the US might potentially do, and then, what could be the next, geopolitical things to watch out for. But I think, guys, in the background, the silver train, it's going choo-choo from the station right now. It's departing. And it might be departing for $100 next, and then it might go to the $150 station. And, it's pretty exciting stuff. And even if there was, like, say, a gigantic retracement, which I don't know if there will be, I would actually see that as a very good opportunity. Because, again, those factors that I'm talking about, they're so hard to reverse, right? How do you reverse, distrust in the government? How do you reverse this national debt? How do you reverse these geopolitical conflicts? You don't really. It's just the storm that's coming, and bunker down for the storm. That's what's happening. So watch out for that. And again, I don't want to be too doom and gloom, but they are the big factors that are driving up precious metals. If you enjoy these updates where we do check out the prices and the news and some of these factors, guys, like, subscribe, follow. We are talking it all right here on this channel. And I'll keep you guys up to date as this journey unfolds. But appreciate every single one of you guys being here. And before we go, we're going to do the final comments. So the next video, I probably won't read out comments for a while. But feel free to continue to comment. Let's just check them out right here. What do we got? We got Jeff says, your cartoon of the wives, your silver, our silver is priceless. Exactly what I went through. Yes. So women, when you're down and your price predictions aren't going that well, you can feel their wrath. But when everything's going up, the prices are going up, they can show you some more affection right there. Young Pistachio says, this week is shaping up to a wild ride, so expect volatility. Absolutely. And not only this week, guys, I think this year is going to be crazy. I got a feeling 2026, 2027, this is like, what's the word? History doesn't like repeat, but it might echo or rhyme or something like that. But if you look at history like 100 years ago, where we are right now, guys, things are looking just volatile. Hi, future video. This comment was from the last video. We love the silver and use. So shout out to you, Real Gear Up Survival. So with that name, I think he's going to be prepared for what's coming next. So shout out to you today. But yeah, I just say get ready, and things are going to get wild. So appreciate you guys tuning in. Silver to the moon, precious metals to the moon, Economic Zoo signing out.